In a faraway kingdom named Aurelia, dawn rose over golden castles and misty valleys, a land kissed by dreams. Through the royal garden, Princess Aurora walked barefoot among flowers, her white and gold gown glowing in the morning light. She paused to touch a single rose, and the sunlight shimmered in her blue eyes like gentle magic. Her cheerful maid, Clara, entered with a basket in hand, her laughter as light as the breeze. Aurora smiled and shared blossoms with her, their joy floating through the drifting petals. Together they strolled past marble arches and crystal fountains, laughter echoing softly between the walls. A warm wind lifted Aurora's hair as butterflies danced around her sparkling crown. From above, the royal gardens stretched endlessly beneath the golden sun, a paradise of peace and beauty. Clara tilted her head curiously. "Princess, why do you pick the flowers yourself?" she asked. Aurora smiled with quiet grace and answered, "Because they remind me that the world can bloom beyond palace walls." Clara listened with warmth in her green eyes, admiration glowing softly. Aurora held a single flower to her heart, lost in tender thought, while servants trimmed the hedges around them, their movements steady and calm. A playful wind rose again, swirling petals through the air and wrapping both women in a dreamy golden haze. Not far away, a young gardener named Ethan worked quietly under the morning sun. His light brown hair fell over his brow and sweat shimmered on his skin, yet his eyes were calm and kind. From across the garden, Aurora noticed him for the first time, curiosity brightening her gaze. Clara leaned closer and whispered playfully, "That's the new gardener." Aurora tilted her head, intrigued, her gown glistening softly in the golden light. Ethan looked up shyly and bowed. Aurora smiled back before turning away. For a fleeting moment, two worlds, royal and humble, touched through one glance. Later that morning, Aurora found herself walking toward Ethan among the blooming roses. He stood nervous but respectful, clutching his watering can. "What's your name?" Aurora asked gently, her tone kind and curious. "Ethan, Your Highness," he replied, lowering his eyes. Aurora laughed lightly. "You speak too politely for a gardener." Ethan smiled faintly and said, "Maybe I was a prince once, in a dream." Aurora blushed as sunlight brushed warmth across her golden hair. From afar, Clara watched quietly and whispered, "He's different." Aurora turned away, her gown brushing against the flowers, leaving petals drifting behind her. Ethan watched her go and murmured softly, "She's from another world." Hope glimmered in his eyes like a spark of destiny. That night, in a small wooden room lit by a flickering candle, Ethan sat at his desk, lost in thought. He opened his worn diary and wrote carefully, "I met her again in dreams." Beside the words, he drew a simple crown, his face filled with longing and wonder. Moonlight slipped through the window, dancing with the candle's flame. His hazel eyes reflected both love and determination, the heart of a dreamer who dared to wish beyond his reach. On the table lay his worn gardener's gloves beside a folded royal cloth marked with a golden crest, a silent symbol of the fate that waited ahead. The next morning, the grand royal hall filled with music and trumpets as banners waved high. King Aldrich sat proudly upon his throne, his red and gold robe gleaming beneath the chandeliers. His voice carried through the hall as a royal messenger announced,
"Oh no! This can't be happening!"
"A grand ball will be held for Princess Aurora's birthday." Hidden behind a pillar, Ethan listened with wide eyes, his heart pounding with a sudden spark of hope. That night, under the silver moon, two souls gazed toward the same sky, Aurora on her balcony and Ethan beside his candlelight. Though worlds apart, their hearts were connected by one golden thread of destiny.